Saturday afternoon to hear something about the assistance program in Laos. I know there are assistance programs elsewhere, but we've had great success in Laos over the last several years. And it was just by chance that I got involved because I kept hearing about this guy named Mac who was looking for me. Keep a low profile. I didn't know whether he had a gun or what. But since Mr. MacAllan Thompson has taken a lot of pictures, and we all know that a picture is worth 1,000 words, Jerry's put together a beautiful slideshow. But I'd like first just to give you a little of my own background so you know where I'm coming from, as they say, and also what it is, the steps that get taken to provide your assistance to a worthy project in Laos, and show you where we work. You can see on the map some names of places here, and give you a better idea for how it takes place and how it continues. The first step in my life, I think, going in this direction was after working in Europe on a farm for a while. I came back to the U.S. and somebody said, the president is starting a program where he'll send you overseas for free. And all you have to do is follow the leader and learn a little bit about teaching English. First I thought it was going to be Naval Air, and I was ready to sign up. Probably a good thing I didn't sign up for Naval Air. But what I did sign up for was one of the first Peace Corps groups, the first group that went to Thailand. And I went to Udon when the lights went out about 10 p.m. There was no electricity, it was just a sleepy little town. And all of you, I'm sure, that have ever been in Thailand or gone up to the Isan, northeast part, you've seen Udon. It's a huge, sprawling metropolis now. So that was a long time ago, 1962, when we landed there. And people kept telling us, well, you know, the origins really are further north. These people here that you're working with, that you're teaching English to, they come from Laos. So Laos began to hold this mystical draw for us young fellows and young ladies who were in the Peace Corps. And we all wanted to go to Laos. The Peace Corps wouldn't let us go. I said, no, it's dangerous. It wasn't so dangerous in '62 as it got later on, perhaps. But something about the people and the language, I think, was very inviting and attractive to us, working there in the Isan part of Laos. And I don't know if I can see exactly where it is here, but it's the northeast 1/3, just about, of Thailand, and it is predominantly Lao-speaking, a number of dialects of Lao, and probably more people speaking Lao there than in Laos itself. Laos has a population now of about, well, over 6 million, but easily half of them may be Lao-speaking or speaking a Lao dialect, a dialect of Lao, but the other half are probably speaking non-Lao languages. There are at least 4 language families in Laos, and one of them is Lao, which is closely related to Thai, and then the other 3 are related to other language families, either the Chinese family or the Mon, Khmer, and even some people think there may be some Malay-related people in Laos. So it's a country of many ethnic minorities, and outside of Vientiane, the capital, things are very different from what you see in the capital and the main cities along the Mekong River. And when I came back to America after Peace Corps, and I worked for the Foreign Service Institute here. And a lot of my friends who I'd known or I met after returning, they were joining the Foreign Service, the AID, USIS, and those, and they were going back over. And I got to feel a little jealous there at FSI, going down these halls and helping a few groups of youngsters going to Laos to be community development advisors. And I thought, hey, that sounds wonderful. Well, I didn't join up, but I left Foreign Service Institute. I went to Hawaii for further study, and I studied law. And I got so I could work with a Lao person and help other people learn Lao. And that led me to going to Laos for the University of Hawaii and working in a program there in the late 60s and early 70s until 75. So after leaving with all the other Americans, all I wanted to do was get back to Laos. In 1993, I was able to do that. I started working with an NGO who were working with money from the State Department to start a UXO accident reduction and accident prevention program. And we were being sent to remote areas, and our little program had Lao working with us, and we went to 9 provinces and 38 districts to help teachers and students reduce accidents from UXO left in Laos since the war. And as you know, I'm sure you know, you've heard, that's still a big program, and the president was just there a couple of weeks ago and promised more money for the survey and for reduction of the danger of UXO left. At the same time, we began to see lots of schools that needed help, and the principal and the community would always come to me at those times when we have teacher training there, and they would say, can you please help? We've got a leaky roof. When it rains, the kids have to move away from the rain dripping through, and if they get too excited on the floor, the dust comes up, they can't even see the teacher. We need a cement floor, and time and time again that was happening. And that about the time in the early 2000s that I met up with Mac Thompson, who was looking for ways to bring assistance to remote areas in Laos, especially those where our folks had been working during the war, and especially in Sianquang province, which is...
We'll have a little better picture of it.
Yeah, there. Sianquang and Savannakhet, further south in the central part of Laos, are the reddest parts of the map when you look at the numbers of UXO left in the ground, or the information that is given about the amount of bombing and fighting that took place in Laos to help prevent incursions along the Ho Chi Minh Trail, or trails, as you know, there were many. And so with that, Mac and I have been working since then to respond to requests for assistance by communities, community leaders, and principals and teachers. And the main part of our assistance has been in roofing, new tin roofing, and in cement floors. All the labor is provided by the community. Your assistance, or our assistance, I am a member, TLCB, goes to materials such as tin sheets and cement and sand and gravel. And the shovels belong to the community, and they dig in, and they do a good job, and it looks beautiful. So, Jerry, let's show what it can look like. Here's, you know him, here's our main man, my counterpart for a long time, and now counterpart of Mac, who works in Sin Quang province in the Department of Education. He's a fine fellow, and I would like to say that he is the one who kind of vets a project. If a community wants assistance, they would not come to me, they would go to him. They know they should go to him. And they discuss it in Laos, and he kind of gets an idea about how committed the community is, how strong a leader the principal and the village chief are, and then he will send me his version of what they're requesting in Lao, which I translate and send to Mr. Mac, and Mac sends it here to the right committee, and pretty soon, lo and behold, there's some money in the account. And that money either gets taken out in dollars and converted to keep, the Lao money, keep. When I left, it was about 8,010 keep to a dollar. Or we can send it to him as dollars or as keep, and he can change it up. The exchange rate is about the same where he lives, our main fellow there in San Juan, as it is in Vientiane. So that's not a problem, and exchanging money. And that funding then is turned over to the community by him, and he follows up on the work that's done. And he answers emails from Mac, sometimes in a little English and a lot of times in Lao. And that's how we go about deciding on how the money will be used. So it does go through a few steps before it's decided that we should provide some assistance to a project. So let's see. This doesn't show you the rest of Laos, but this is the province and the main capital of Sian Quang province, which is famous for the big jars that people are not sure of, but they probably were related to funeral rites thousands, at least 2,000 or 3,000 years ago. But they've been studied by French specialists and more recently by others. But they are the thing that people like to come and see. Now, some of them were smashed by bombing, but there are many, many more left in 3 or 4 sites, main sites in the province. Now, Mac has put some of the places that you will see in the slides where we have given assistance and what the assistance helped provide to the community. We've also worked in Samnua province, Humapan province, Samnua, that you may be familiar with. And that is on beyond up to the northeast. But these names here are schools in, or communities in Sian Quang province, the northeast of Laos, where we do most of our work.
Is that road still called Route 7, east-west there?
Route 7,
yeah.
Yes. That Muang Kam there, I think, went by its former name, Nam, maybe Nam. This is a district center. There are 6 districts where we work and many villages. This route goes to Vietnam. That route winds up in Vietnam when it goes through Vientiane and Samnua first.
Art, I read somewhere that Sesambun is no longer the name. Is that true?
They've changed the name.
Yeah.
Yeah. They've changed it to the name of a former king. Yeah. I'm a song, I think.
Bill Tilton will have it easier then.
You ready?
Then Sesambun. Yeah. Sesambun was a special region. No tourists are allowed for some time, and has only recently become open to more tourism. And as John says, they've changed the name from Sesambun to Anawong, the name of a former king. This is the province and the place where some Tong and Long Jang were, and where General Wang Pao was extricated by some of us, maybe some of you. One of you flying in. There's an exciting story about flying in and out the last flight there. Who's that, Les?
Les Strauss.
Yeah, here it is. Long Jang.
The last flight out.
You may wonder, if you say Long Jang, why is it T-I? Well, a lot of these names come from the French spelling, and in French, T-I often comes out as a ch sound, so Long Jang. They heard that spoken by the Lao Jang. They would write it T-I for this ch sound, and the rest hang.
It's on the CH, right? Where is it?
How's that?
The CH, correct?
Yeah, some of the maps show it as CH.
Is CHI.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Well, the alternative CH is probably written by either expat people or possibly the Thai, but there's no CH sound in Lao. CH in Thai becomes an S in Lao. So, for example, elephant is Chang in Thai, but it's San in Lao. So there's some complications there, but it's very systematic. Once you know that CH is S, you can usually convert on your own once you've had enough practice.
No two maps the same in Laos.
Well, you've probably seen, I don't know if you have seen, in the south there, east of the Swanaket province, the eastern part is Sepon, S-E-P-O-N-E for us, S-E-P-O-N. But the French spelled it T-C-H-E, I think.
Yeah.
And nobody figured out how to pronounce it.
That was on our tactical maps during the war.
Because it came from the French.
Yeah, the French spelled it that way. That's the way they heard it, yeah. I think they heard something like our S-H sound. Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Well, Ban Nong, one of the villages we have been contributing to recently in back district means Pine Tree District, and that's where the province capital is. And here you see it before and after. Here's a dilapidated school building, and here's the result of our assistance with the work of the community, of course. But it's a lot of fun, and it's very exciting to come back and see the after pose and the after picture. And there's always a big party. Mac is not showing you the party here, but
That comes later.
a lot of glasses and a lot of pouring. Or there may be some, what they call lao hai, it's a big jar, and you get a straw made of bamboo or grass. And I think there's a picture here.
That's at the end.
Here's another big concern. It's not enough furniture. The kids are, instead of 2 at a desk and a bench, you might go into a room and see 4. And sometimes no furniture, just sitting on mat in the classroom. So this is expensive. The tropical hardwoods in Laos have been cut to a great extent and have been shipped as logs, huge logs, sometimes as big as the bed of a truck. The width of the log is the width of a truck. It's hard to believe that such big trees still exist. And they go to Thailand or Vietnam, China, and they become value-added, high-priced articles of furniture in many cases for paneling or whatever. And that's a big problem for Laos, is adding value to their own natural resources. But there's still some wood left, and they don't consider it valuable wood. It's not softwood, but it's not like rosewood and those expensive tropical hardwoods. So we find out through our man, Mr. Soon Duan, fellow you saw on the left, where these could be made, and if the furniture maker is not too far away, we pay for transportation, we pay for furniture, and that is not something we do very often, but we do it when it's a great need, such as it was here in this school.
Right.
Furniture. Here's another picture of furniture. You can see, if you just go back, Jerry,
Sure.
you see the cute kids there. And kids are, at first, they're very shy, they're afraid. But as soon as you say something, do something, proves you're not going to eat them up or whatever, they get so happy, they dance around, they ask you lots of questions. And here's some of the students we work with. This wasn't a classroom day. I think they must have sat them down to take a picture. But this is the kind of furniture that we pay for. It's usually a two-seat table with a place to keep a book and a bench, 2 people. And the girls 2 by 2 in front and the boys 2 by 2 in back normally. Here's another one. A rusty leaking roof, and here's what happens when they put the tin sheets on. There are 3 grades of tin sheet in Laos. The softest is you can almost crush easier than you can a beer can. The second one is the one we use, and they call it the Soon Duan variety. He's our guy, and he insists that our money pay for grade number 2, not grade number 1, the crushable. So we get some tin that, and if it's pretty steep, it'll last 20 years. If it's not so steep, it doesn't last as long.
Right.
Who built the original buildings that were?
Well, the original buildings that we re-roof, by and large, were built by the communities themselves. And they got some help from somebody. Sometimes it was bilateral, that's embassy assistance, or sometimes it has been NGOs working in Laos, but not permanently in this province. But
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go ahead of you.
Sometimes you can. This looks like a, you know what? Bomb crater. And here's a new roof. You see, put on there.
Excuse me.
Art?
I was just wondering, if water is a problem, do you ever consider composting toilets that require no water? You know, sanitary?
Yeah, a lot of people have asked that question, and they haven't been very popular with the people. I think it's a fear of they are dirty, and they've never seen them or used them. I don't know, except I think perhaps the Swedes or somebody, Northern Europeans, have introduced the idea and the plans and have some models to see, but they haven't caught on.
Okay.
Yeah. There's another toilet. Toilet in the building. Building stage. Yeah. So this is a big step forward compared to what people would say to me quite often when I went to the schools earlier. I told you I was working with the UXO project, where the children go to the toilet. Toilet. Oh, Kopa. They go to the woods.
Yep.
So, for the boys, it may be easier, for the girls, a little harder, but what about the teachers? Oh, they go back to the village. There's no toilet at the school. So it's always been a concern, and we always ask that question. We try to see what we can do about water and toilets, but you might say, well, can't the government at least get a toilet? Well, I don't know where all the money goes. It's supposed to come from Nam Tun 2, the big new hydropower dam. A lot of that money was promised to go to education. Ministry of Education is the highest employer of government officials in the country. And they've got a big payroll they have to meet. And sometimes the money gets there on time, and sometimes it doesn't. So money for this is second priority. Payroll is first priority. So you hear that same story. I think John and Les and the others that were with us have heard that from the director of education in this province, but well, you can't change it overnight. It's getting better. All right. This is very recent. This building was promised by the province education service, and they ran out of money, and the community came to Mac and Mr. Sunduan, and they, could you help us complete the construction? And you can see from this, there's at least 2 years or a year or more. It's just been growing up. And so they got some wood, and they went to work, and in the next picture right there, you see they have put it together. They cleaned it up, and TLCB provided this much, $3,520 for roofing, cement, and siding.
Matt corrected me on that when he saw this slide. He says the siding was already there, but we had to pay for nails and fastening the siding.
Sawing the boards.
Hey, Art, in order to evaluate in my mind how much that represents, what's a average yearly income in Laos now?
Well, the teacher gets about 300,000 keep a month. How much is that divided by 8,000? It's a small amount.
Okay.
It doesn't always come on time. And
I think I saw in the world, because they classify as the poorest country, that their average is about $117 a year per capita, per person.
well, I need a haircut. When I found out, our son and I went to get a haircut, we wound up paying $28 here for the two of us. And in Laos, I was paying 15,000 kip. That's almost $2.
In Thailand, I paid
Now
$1.50.
if that is an example, you see how much more expensive the cost of living here would be. But it depends what you spend it on, of course. If you go to the market, local market, you might find some things are maybe more expensive there. Here, I noticed that chicken wings are more, but you can buy a chicken leg sometimes for 99 cents a pound here. Well, that's less than you would pay
Over there.
for chicken. You wouldn't eat chicken every day there either. So, the cost of living is much less, depending on what you eat and what you spend it on.
That's a substantial amount in their country.
Pardon?
It's a very substantial amount for a Lao.
Oh, yes, absolutely. That's a big amount. And that is one of the reasons why we've tried to be very careful about which projects we should assist because we cannot control the use of the money entirely, and we don't supervise the construction. So if Mr. Soon Byun determines that they are honest and they're hardworking, dedicated, and they are really intent on restoring, as they did here, restoring this half of a building into a new school building, then they go ahead. And I think this has made Mac very happy to see how quickly this was done.
That being side is in the province you were talking about.
Yeah. This Vieng site was named after the real Vieng site up north.
That's my question.
Good question, yeah. Vieng site is the district where the caves were, where the Pathet Lao holed up in the caves during the war, the earliest part of the war.
So there's a commemorative name for that, for these things.
That's right, commemorative name, this Vieng site. You see a Sai, Sai means victory, the Sai by itself. You see many people named Sai, Vieng Sai, Sai Pe, Sai Gao. All of these common names often have Sai with it, victory. Mina Sai, there's a young student named Mina. Mina is April. April victory. But the victory actually came from the victory that the Pathet Lao kept talking about. And Mina is April, that's her name. But that was one that amused me, Mina Sai, victory in April. But here they are, looking at the, this is Soon Byun, our guy. I don't see Mac, he must have been taking the picture. This is the community looking over the restored building that got finished inside.
What does Ving mean?
Vieng is, normally means city or town, Vieng. And Vieng Chan is the city of the moon, Chan is the moon. But you often see this in men and women's names that for some reason, I don't know if I've asked about that. I don't know why it's so common, yeah, but it usually means city or town. Now, here you get Senior Mac and his wife, and these must be community people. And here's our guy Soon Byun, and this fellow is Dutch. He lives in Chiang Mai. He loves to accompany Mac. He drives from Chiang Mai down to Nong Khai, parks, and he gets in Mac's car, which is usually rented, a four-wheeler, and they go off to see the projects.
We were talking about that slide a couple of days ago. We noticed the ladies on the left are considerably younger and head and shoulders taller. We were wondering if that's because of diet over the last 20 years.
That's what my wife says.
Well, I don't know about that. I think in general, children are better fed and are eating better than they were 40 or 50 years ago or beyond. And I don't think it's because of milk supplement or something like that, but there are supplements provided by different countries, and they come in the form of a powder that you can stir into water. And so this lady, and this one quite tall, but even so, every now and then you see a tall person. Of course, they seem to be
You see
way over everybody else.
You see the difference in size and the difference in age.
Yes.
And we were wondering if that was a sign that Laos is coming along in terms of diet, across a wide spectrum of diet. And
Yeah. Well, Soon Byun, the guy that works with us, is 50-some. I don't know who this is.
That's
This guy, very tall, Dutch guy. But Miss Oui Oui, which is yes, yes in French, she's pretty short, I guess. On a curve there. Yeah. But the president, our president, announced a huge supplement source of assistance or supplements from the U.S., which will continue now. Sometimes those supplements don't taste right to the receiving country, and they get fed to animals. It's like the rice, you know, rice gets polished, and what's left is basically starch. And the good part is fed to the chickens. So at all the rice mills, you see animals, and you see separation of the rice kernels and the bran, right? And in that bran, the brown stuff, is all the vitamins, the B vitamins. It should be going to the people. So they go, well, what about America? I said, well, we have an enriched rice. I'm not sure what enriched rice means. They don't soak it, do they? How do they get the vitamins in enriched rice? I'm not sure. But anyway, nutrition is a big problem. Yes. Here they are. Oh, here we go. This jar has a kind of wine fermented in there, and when it's ready to drink, everybody gathers around and they get this I think it might be a kind of bamboo or with a long separation or grass. And so 2 by 2 people usually take a sip there. She looks like she's got some white lightning in her. She's not too happy about putting it away. But anyway, it's very impolite when we're rushing off to the next project because we've got to meet a deadline, not to spend some time with the community like this. And Mac and I have found we can drink this, but some of the white lightning really get to you. So we kind of cut out most of that, and I usually ask him to drink it for me, which is not very good. He doesn't really drink it all. But I sniff it. I make a lot of excuses, but they keep watching. You didn't drink that.
This looks like the same drink in Thailand is called chang. And I was told there was a mash in the bottom of that.
Yes.
And they mix water with it. When it's empty, why you pour some more water into it.
Pour some more water. Yeah.
And it's still tough when you drink it anyway.
And the stuff I had was actually pretty good.
Very recently, this beautiful certificate was given to Mac, and he sent it to me. He was so happy about this because it was going to get here in time for the reunion. And so I translated it, and it's on the next slide, but
You want to go back?
all of these words here, I had to search through the thesaurus, right, to get the right ones. I don't know if they're right or not, but what it says is certificate of appreciation and esteem is the way I put it, and this comes from the province governor. So, but he didn't actually sign it. It was signed by the deputy, but that doesn't matter. What it says, as you'll see in the translation, is that this is acknowledging the assistance provided by the TLCB, which we've been doing for a number of years, nearly 11 or 12 years now. And so while people don't talk about it, they all know about it. And even the Minister of Education at the same time, and the officials in the different departments, they know. And when I see them occasionally, they say, oh, they will always say, oh, very smart. Gang lie means you're very smart, you're quick, you're alert, you're up with it. But what they mean is, how can you spend money and get such a product? Because when we spend money, it usually gets diverted. They don't say that in so many words, but that's what they're thinking, that's what they mean. And I think the reason is, we are very friendly, we're very interested, we get to know the people involved, and our guy Soon Gun follows up and keeps up with it. And that's only natural, you have to do that here anywhere. And so here's the certificate of appreciation. the governor, here he is, the governor presents this certificate of appreciation and esteem to the Thai Lao Cambodia Brotherhood Foundation, based in Bangkok, Thailand. Did you know you were based in Bangkok? Which has built great success in providing material resources for the development of education and sports. Now it's the Ministry of Education and Sports, as it had both words. In Sin Quang province, during the past year, school year, with gratitude and congratulations for the success and the benefits of these endeavors. It took me a long time to get all the words I could in there like that, but it's really true. That's the way that people really feel. They might not use those words, but you can tell they are so delighted to get this assistance. And they just beam when they see you. They think, oh, a new roof, floor, books, water and toilet. I mean, basic needs. Furniture, and in some cases, we have built, not in this province, but we've built a dorm, a kitchen, bath, and toilet for kids who live too far to commute every day. So they come Sunday night or Monday morning, they spend 5 days at school, and they go home. And those kids are usually ethnic minorities, in many cases Hmong people, like General Wang Pao, Hmong, and but quite often non-Chinese related are the Khmu and others who are ethnic minorities in Laos. And it makes, you can imagine yourself, the girls can't go unless they have a brother, because the brother has to look after the girls. So the girls may be a year or two older than their classmates, because they haven't gone to school as quickly. And the girls are usually kept at home to look after the livestock, wash clothes, wash dishes, farm, take care of the elders, all sorts of things girls do long before boys take much responsibility. Sooner or later, the boys take certain responsibility, like using a knife to make rattan and bamboo articles, and so on. But it's the girls that are very concerned by the international community, because they see them as being denied access to education. Now with a dorm and a kitchen and a bath and so on, they can go to school with their brothers, stay there in the dorm, and the weekend go back home. And their parents are happy to have them do that, even though it's difficult for the family to absorb the labor that was done by the girls. But it is starting to work out that way. So that's one of the things that we contribute. I want to wind up by saying to you that I have always felt that this program by TLCB was really almost under the radar by and large in Laos itself, except for the individuals who are exposed to it and know about it, is a great contribution to cross-cultural exchange and to socioeconomic development at the village level, and especially to reconciliation. Now, some 60% of the people of Laos are under 25. Just a few years ago, they were saying over 50 were under 15. Now they're saying 60 are under 25, which is a tremendous resource, human resource, though they're not educated academically and vocationally, technically, the way you would expect at those ages. But they are becoming a real engine of development. And so by providing a toilet, a dorm, a school, books, we're making a tremendous contribution, which is really not well known, not publicized. But the exceptional part, I think, is the idea of cross-cultural exchange between Americans and Laos, and reconciliation for what's gone before. Many of those children know nothing of war. Maybe their grandparents do. But the grandparents are quickly dying out. So war is not to the main population what it had been 20 years or 30 years ago. And UXO is still a tremendous problem, but it's being reduced. Fewer accidents and more attempts to educate people about reducing accidents, preventing accidents, and also providing services to people who have been wounded by bombies or bombs exploding in the fields or in the forest under the taro patch or wherever they may have landed and not exploded. So on my behalf, I want to thank all of you, but I'm a member too. I want to thank you for being concerned and staying up with what we're doing, and I think Mac feels the same way, especially the ones that, the assistance that goes to a dorm, because that includes so many more people who are not even going to school. The roof and the floor, people that are already going to school. With the dorm, we can get another dozen or so. So with that, I'd like to give you a round of applause, everyone. I'd like to thank you for giving me a chance to reminisce, because I'm back here now in Silver Spring and I'm trying to be culturally appropriate in the right way. It's taken a while. The language has changed.
One question, Art, about the funding pipeline.
Yes.
I think we want to be very clear on that.
Yes.
I'm in communication with Mac frequently, and we're running a little low. We are, I'm a member too, we're running a little low on funds, so it seems to me, as part of this meeting, there would be a strategic effort to ensure that while Mac is still hale and hearty, he doesn't run out of money. I don't know what the details are. I don't follow them.
Where's Lessa?
I'm going to contribute. And I assume we can earmark funding for Laos.
What-